Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining here, Unapologetic Progressive. Once again, I am back with another video, this time about immigration. Now, a lot of people want to blame Donald Trump and the Republicans for the immigration problems we have in this country. And I want to make it very clear, I don't blame one party or one person. I believe Donald Trump and the actions he is taking now on immigration, I don't believe they're the illness. They're the symptom of the illness. The illness is a broken immigration system. An immigration system that most people don't understand because we're never taught about it. You don't learn about it in high school or junior high, or, in history class or in government class or anything like that. You hardly hear about it in most undergrad college classes unless you specifically focus on that, right? You learn more about it, if you go to law school and you're going to be immigration attorney, things like that. You learn more about it. That's one of the many problems that we have is a lack of understanding about how our laws actually work when it pertains to immigration. Also, a lot of Americans are under the assumption that it's free, that you just show up and say you want to be under the country and we let you in the country. That it doesn't cost you anything to do that, which is a lie. Right? If you come and do it the legal right way, as people want the immigrants to do, it can cost you thousands of dollars to become a U.S. citizen. It's not cheap. Between needing to seek an attorney if you don't understand the laws and regulations, to the forms you have to fill out, and all the to and from you have to do with immigration, just to prove that you're legitimately trying to seek residency here in the U.S. Right? A lot of Americans don't know that asylum is a legal way to enter a country. I know that firsthand because I had several people in my family calling me a liar back in the first Trump administration when I made the comment that asylum is a legal way to enter the country. So that's one of the few small things that we have is a lack of education on immigration specifically. Also, because of our lack of education overall in this country and the dumbing down of America, most Americans don't even realize that there's no reason to hate these people. Most of the people, even the ones that enter this country illegally, are not here to commit violent crimes. They're here to work. A majority of the people that Trump has deported from this country, yes, many of them did enter the country illegally, but not one of them had committed a violent crime or sold drugs or anything like that. In fact, most of the people he's deported are people who were here that had legal status that was revoked by him and his organizations, like, ICE and the Proud Boys that are working with him. Right? And so a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding is one of the big reasons we have these problems. The fact is, the xenophobic aspect of it all comes from the lack of education. The fact that people don't want anybody else here that they don't feel belong here. And in most cases, the people that have that opinion are people who are white supremacists. They don't understand these things, or they do, and they want to ignore it. But the fact is, most immigrants that come to this country come here to work, come here to survive, and get out of a bad situation where they're from. Do you really believe people are coming 12,000 plus miles just to harm you, just to steal your job? No. People aren't traveling all the way from like Venezuela and Colombia just to make your life harder. There was a day and time where we wanted people to do it the legal right way. And now they don't even do that. But like I said, Trump and his actions, they're a symptom of the problem. They're not the problem itself. They're just a symptom. And if we don't fix our broken immigration system, make it cheaper and easier for people to, become U.S. citizens. And I don't mean easier as in, no requirements for background checks or anything like that. I'm saying make it easier by making it less, less stressful, less costly, and less time consuming. Right? It shouldn't take somebody 5 to 10 years to become a U.S. citizen. Right? It shouldn't take that long. I understand you want people to, like maybe, you know, take some classes for a year or so or something to learn different things about the United States, how voting works, how this works, how that works, right? But for it to take years and years, upwards of 5 to 10 years to become a U.S. citizen is absolutely insane. Part of that leads to one of the other problems that we have, and that's a lack of judges. One reason it takes so long is we don't have enough immigration judges. And that's not because the positions aren't out there. It's just that Congress has refused to fill them. Because in general, when the Democrats have wanted to fill them, they get blocked by Republicans. Right? Democrats have done some things like that in the past as well. Just to, you know, fight back and be basically cheap. Right? And I don't agree with that either. But I do believe we need to streamline immigration. I believe it needs to be made more efficient, more affordable, easier to do, and take less time to get it done. And I believe there are ways we could do that, especially with all the technology we have these days. Right? Let the people come in to the country. Going back to the plaque on the Statue of Liberty. Bring me your poor, huddled masses yearning to be free. That's something I learned when I was a kid, and it stuck with me. Because I believe every human being deserves a chance at life, that every human being has a chance to survive and thrive. And I don't care what country they come from. Now, I do believe that if you enter this country illegally and you commit a violent crime, that you should be, upon you know your due process rights being given, you should be deported from the country. I completely support that. I completely support the notion that if you've committed a violent crime on your process during your process to become an American citizen, you should be deported. But I believe you should be given due process. That is just something I believe wholeheartedly. I also believe that we just need to make it easier for these people to deal with coming in the country in the first place. So a few solutions, because I don't want to sit here and just give you the problems. A few solutions. One, fill all the judgeships that need to be filled. Two, open more ports of entry across the southern border. That way, there's not so many people coming into each place that they're overwhelmed. Right? Make sure you have attorneys that are assigned to these people as they come in the country that will do it for no cost. Whether if it's just getting a bunch of people that do it pro bono, or some kind of subsidy sent to the attorneys so they can do this work. But last but not least, I think the biggest thing we need to do in this country is educate the young people about how immigration works. And because I believe the more educated you are, the less likely you are to fear the other, to have fear about people entering the country that you don't know. Also, because a lot of our immigration issues in this country stem from a point of white supremacy. We have to educate the younger people, the younger generations, so they know that bigotry and racism is just dumb and pointless. There's no reason for it, right? And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people. I grew up in an area of East Texas where people were very racist, and they thought they were better than everybody else. Now I live in Oklahoma. Seems a lot worse. But the fact is, a lot of the reasons that we have the immigration system we have today is because of the white supremacists in this country don't want to become the minority. They are terrified that they may become a minority. Why is that? Is that because maybe minorities in this country historically have been treated poorly? The Japanese, the Irish, Asians in general, slaves brought on slave ships from Africa. And then even after slavery was ended, look what we did to the African American population. Right? We've done nothing to help that population thrive at all. We never do. And it's because so many Americans, especially people that look like me, have this belief that if one person gets a little bit of the pie, that they can't have any of it. That they lose all their rights because somebody else gained a few. And that's what that's one reason, our main reason our immigration system is broken. And the only way to stamp out white supremacy and the whole stupid notion of it is to educate the youth. Teach them history. Teach them the real history of how America has done things. Right? Teach people that racism is not necessary. It's not good. It's a terrible thing. Teach them that racism will, divides and destroys countries. If you need any clear picture of what white supremacy does, take a look at Nazi Germany and see how that ended for them. Anyhow, thanks for watching Unapologetic Progressive. I will see you down the road.